So we've been asked a question whether if you pull the earth wire on Earthsure or Twin and Earth, does that affect the resistance of the earth wire? So we've come into our laboratory, we're going to try and simulate that and find out the answer. So to do that, we have brought a reel of Earthsure and then we have our conductor resistance test rig. So it's a very accurate piece of measuring equipment. It measures to 3 decimal places and we're measuring in resistance, so it's ohms or milliohms per meter in this case. So the normal test, we need to take a meter of cable, and then we will put it into this test bridge. So I'll just strip the ends back. And I think the best way to simulate whether pulling the earth wire makes a difference or not, if we just strip this without pulling the earth wire, so we're just pulling off the sheathing on either sides. And then we need to strip off the green yellow because we want to test the conductor inside. And this CPC in here is a 1 square millimeter, so the maximum conductor resistance this can be to comply with the British standard is 18.1 as a measurement. So we need to put that in the test rig. Close that up, and then this is calibrated at a meter. We press measure, and it then takes the measurement. So that's 17.37. So if we don't pull the earth wire, we get a measurement of 17.37. So that is well under the 18.1 maximum of the British standard. And we tend to do that with all of our cables. It's about product longevity and lifespan. We put higher quality and more materials in there so that the product lasts longer. So we're going to take the same piece of copper from the middle and we're going to try and replicate how that would be pulled. So if we was pulling this to strip the sheathing back, we would pull it like that. So I'm going to pull it all the way down and I'm going to simulate that stripping motion as if you were using the green yellow to split the sheath, and then we're going to retest the same piece of copper and we'll take the conductor resistance of this piece after stripping the sheathing in that method. If this then increases from 17.37 when we press remeasure, we know that it's had an effect on the conductor resistance of that CPC or green yellow. So we can see that that has had an effect. It's now at 18.10. So that is now at the maximum that is allowed in the British standard for the conductor resistance of that conductor size. And then as a point of reference, I've also brought just an imported Twin and Earth. So plain reel, Twin and Earth. Usually what happens with these products is that they're bought on price. It's very price sensitive. They're putting as little raw materials in the cable as they possibly can to just comply with the standards. So if we strip this in the same way and we take off the sheathing, what I'd expect to see is that the CPC resistance is actually higher than what we would generally start with. So if we take this measurement there on this cable, just trim the length down so we get the same meter. And then we press measure. So you can see on that one we're at 17.66. So there's slightly less copper in this one than there is on our version. So if you had the same effect, you may then be above the standard if you were stripping it back by pulling the green yellow. So to answer the question, it does have an effect. It's going to be very subjective because I pulled it multiple times, and I appreciate that you're only going to pull it once. And I think the main answer would be it does have an effect. It depends how much you actually pull and how much force you use when you're pulling the CPC or the green yellow out. And then it also depends what your starting number is as to whether that cable will be compliant if you chose to install it in that way.